So since getting my pocketable palm-sized X3 reader, I've been reading so much more fiction to reduce my scrolling, and that's going quite well. But the problem is that I'd usually forget the books I'd read, what it was about, and how they made me feel, especially for those of us in a busy life season. In this video, I'm going to show you my easy, low-maintenance reading journal setup and why I think keeping one is genuinely worth it. Let's dive in. So this X3 is the pocketable e-reader device that I put on my traveler's notebook. And I've just been reading more, and it's become my default activity during my commute. And I'm sure many of you watching this video enjoy reading as much as I do, especially fiction books, because they fill my cup and make me feel more human. But without logging them or reflecting on them somehow, I get this sense that the beautiful books I've read were merely passing through my hands, and that's a shame to not have anything I can revisit or reference back to remember the story or the beautiful quotes that struck me and made me feel things in the moment. I also have other journals, so I'm quite busy in my journaling life. So I asked myself this question about what I need in my reading journal. What would actually work for someone with a full schedule, a lot of journals, and not a lot of spare time, but still want to reflect about their books so they can relish in them a bit longer? And for me, the answer revolves around three things. One, I want to capture book recommendations, so I always have a steady supply of inspiration. Two, I want to catalog what I've read so I can reference back to them. And three, I want something cheerful that makes me actually want to journal. So I made this template which I use on the Remarkable Move, and I'll link up to it below in case you're interested. But even if you're using a physical notebook, you can still get ideas from this because the structure can translate to paper just as well. The first one is my TBR list to capture ideas. So it's just one page like this, because sometimes the problem with TBRs is that they just keep growing, and at some point it just feels overwhelming and makes you stuck and indecisive. So now I only have this one page, and it takes about 30 seconds to add something, and that's really convenient. Now the next one is the book list catalog page, which I can access here by tapping. So this is where I add the titles of the books I've finished reading or are currently reading, and it's just an easy way to get a snapshot of my reading life. I like having these rectangles here shaped like a book cover so I can use them as guides. So for those using a Remarkable Move and you have a Connect subscription, you can now upload JPEG or PNG images. And I have a video where somewhere in the middle of that video I show how I do that, which I'll link up here. But once loaded on your device, you can just move it around and adjust it by selecting the selection tool and then just tapping on the image and then moving it around like so. Either that, or you can just add a simple title in your handwriting and add simple decorations like stripes, just like this. Now on to the next section of my reading journal. So actually these rectangles have hyperlinks to them, so they go to specific book journal pages. So for instance, this one, and the reading journal is just one page and have very simple low pressure prompts that you can finish in 5 minutes if you're pressed for time. So this is where the balance of structure and flexibility comes in. Maybe like me, you're intimidated by a blank page and just feel too overwhelmed to start. Or if there are too many prompts, then it takes too much time. But in this one, there are just 3 prompts. So this book in a few words, what I liked, what I disliked, and this free space that you can fill with more thoughts or even a sketch. So this example is from the book The Chronicle of a Death Foretold, and here I sketched how I imagined the setting to be, and I chose this way of journaling because I really felt a strong sense of place in the book, so I felt called to highlight that in my journal. And then for the book Darling by India Knight, I added doodles of the characters because the book did a fantastic job in developing very likable personas, and there's a few of them, so I wanted to remember the characters. But you can also do other things like write a longer plot summary or hand letter a favorite quote right here. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, feel free to subscribe to my newsletter, link down below, where I share monthly updates about tools and inspiration for cozy productivity and a more analog life through paper and paper-like tech, like the e-ink device I have here. Now going back to the book journal page, if you need more space, like if you have feelings or thoughts to process or just have a lot of favorite quotes, then you can also use the extra notes pages here. Then you have line pages, and you can also add your star ratings here by coloring them in. Then I also have a dedicated page for those books that have gotten a 5-star for me in the favorites section. And lastly, for cataloging, my reading journal also has a did not finish section that you can access from the bookshelf right here. So those books that are not for you right now have a place to stay, and perhaps you can write a quick note here about what you did not like or why you did not finish it, and it can give you some insight into your reading patterns and tastes. Now, speaking of bookshelf, this is one of my favorite parts in my reading journal because I think it's just a great way to cheer it up. So I color in the books I've finished and color code them based on the rating I gave. So it's a small thing, but I find it really satisfying and has become a little ritual for sending a book off. Also, when I tap on the book, it will get me directly to the book journal page if I ever want to revisit it. Personally, I need something to have some element of fun or challenge for me to actually stick with it. And the book list catalog here and adding book covers that I shared before is just one of the ways that I spice up my reading journal because it makes me feel like I have less of a log and more of a little gallery of everything I've read. And for those of us who like to gamify our reading lives for extra motivation, I also added these monthly pages where I can draw myself a sticker for each day that I get some reading time in. Or I also have these digital stickers that I made for the Remarkable Boo, which I'll also link down below, that I can use to decorate. And every now and then, I'll also set a reading challenge for myself, which I can access from here. So there's Book Bingo, an A to Z alphabet challenge, a round the world challenge where I can color in whenever I read a book by an author from a certain country, or 52 books in 52 weeks. And I also have one space for a challenge of my own choosing. And I like that it sits quietly in the template and not in your face, so you just revisit it if you have the time or the energy to dedicate to it, no pressure at all. You know, reading in small pockets of time actually add up, and that's a lovely thing for us busy readers. And I think most of us would like that time to mean something. Not just to have read the books, but to actually relish in them and relive them. For me, that's what a reading journal like this is for. It also gives you a sense of your reading life as a whole, and a year from now you can look back and see what you read, what you loved, when you finished things, which months were full of reading and which ones weren't, and that's a kind of self-knowledge that I find genuinely nice to have. It makes reading feel more intentional and personal. And I'd love to know in the comments below if you've ever kept a reading journal, whether you were consistent or not, and how you use it, and whether you use a paper-based journal or something digital like this one. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Until then, stay paperful.